All right, so we're back working on the VX today. I did finally get a gas tank for it. So I found this one down in Texas and had it shipped up. Rust-free, pretty good shape. So first step is we've got to get the fender liners off so we can get the rear bumper off. And then I think the skid plate for the gas tank and the hitch, and then should be able to go from there. So I've got most of the screws out of this thing already. I just got to see how this thing comes out. So I didn't bring my cameras back today, so I'm just using my iPhone. So if it sounds funny or looks funny, that's kind of why. See if I can get you guys propped up here where you can see it not fall down, hopefully. All right, let's see if we can get the fender popped out. There's two clips towards the bottom. There we go. All right, so there's 5 more bolts along here I need to take out. 4 more in my case, there's one that's missing. Normally there are a few more bolts on the bottom, but this bumper's been modified to account for the body lift. So I think this thing will just pop right off now. Just like that. So this is what we have. So in my case, this has got a body lift on it. So these pucks aren't here normally. So the body lift is actually gonna make it a little easier to replace this tank. So I'm gonna leave those on until after I get the tank replaced. And then I'll remove the body mount from there. So now I think we take the skid plate off, take that off here. The hitch, I think we have to pull the hitch off too. I'm not really sure. All right, so the hitch has to come off before the skid plate. So we're gonna pop that off quick. Hopefully. Pretty rusty, so I don't know how these bolts are gonna come out. Sure.
That's a heavy duty son of a gun, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, so kind of show you what we have going on here. These bolts are very, very rusty in here. So I got the first one to break loose. But I've got 5 more to go, so I'm gonna work on this for a while and I'll be back hopefully once I have this done. All right, after a pretty good battle, I got all the hoses off. I'm getting ready to drop this tank now. So I thought this was backwards, but this is how it's supposed to be. So this side is mounted on the bottom, and this side the tank is propped up on top of the mount. So we'll get this thing dropped and go from there. So here's what the tank looks like. Pretty rough shape. You can see the new tank is in really good shape. No rust at all on it. And underneath it, this thing doesn't look too bad, at least from my perspective where I live. It needs some attention, but I think I'll just clean this up a little bit and put some rust stop on there, or rust encapsulator, just to try and stop it from getting any worse. So. Otherwise, looking pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna prep this tank before I put it in, which means I'm gonna put a new fuel pump in it, because I have no idea what the condition of this one is. This did come out of a used Isuzu Trooper, like a 99, I think, or 2000, so this tank could, or this pump could have a lot of miles on it. There we go. Set this down over here.
You got a bolt that you put it in? Which way do they go in? Top down or bottom up?
Up, down. Pull my way just a little bit. Go. All right, guys, so we're back working on the VX. Last time we got the gas tank in, fired it up, and it still had some low fuel pressure. So I'm going to swap out the fuel filter now, and then the fuel regulator, and go from there. So the tank was in really bad shape, so it needed to be swapped out anyways. So I've had this, here's the fuel filter, then spraying that just to let it soak in penetrating oil so everything comes loose. Let's pick up the new Duralast filter, so we'll get that swapped out quick and go from there. Okay, so next up is to replace this regulator for the fuel pressure. Here's a new one. So I think it's just vacuum actuated, must be. I think it's back, I can't even really see it, but it's right back down in here. So I don't have a book for this, but I think I just pull these bolts out, move this bracket out of the way, and then I think I can get to it. So that's what I'm going to try anyways. Try and set you guys up so you can see something. Alright. There's actually supposed to be a second bolt in this between the firewall and the back of the intake, but luckily for me, it it's missing, so make this job a little easier. I'm guessing this has been replaced before too. They're probably fighting the same trouble I am and they couldn't figure it out. Alright, so now that we can see it, here's what it looks like. Essentially all we do is we get a snap ring pliers, get that retainer ring off there. I don't know if you can even see what I'm looking at here. So there it is. There's just a snap ring on there, then you pull the whole center out, plop the new one in, and you should be good to go. So there's a new one. Alright, so the fuel pressure regulator's in. The fuel pressure is still a little low. We're still around 40 psi. I think it should be around 55. So next up, we're just going to check for some vacuum leaks. So I've got this Stinger smoke machine. Basically, you use compressed air at about 2 psi and some mineral oil in here. Heat the mineral oil up and it pumps smoke into the intake manifold. Then you check for leaks. So that's what we're doing next. We'll just hook this up quick. Takes just a couple minutes to heat up. Help if I turn on the air too. There you can see smoke starting to come out of the hose back here. I don't see anything else though. Just kind of leaking out the hose and then leaking out the front of the motor where I've got the intake off, or front of the intake manifold. So I think we're okay. Alright, so like I said, the fuel pressure is a little lower than I'd like to see. We're still, for some reason, about 15 pounds low, as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm just missing something obvious here. But at least I know it's got a new fuel pump, fuel filter, regulator, and there's no vacuum leaks. And I haven't test driven it yet, but it sounds like it's running pretty well, so I'll leave that as is for now and get some of this other stuff put back together. So I'm not going to film this, I'm just going to pound through it. I've got to put the skid plate back on, the hitch back on, tighten up the rear shocks. I did put some KYBs on here. I pulled them off the Acura. I've got that 98 Acura SLX, which is the same thing as an Isuzu Trooper, and it's got the exact same shocks as this. So KYB Monomax. The Ranchos that I had on here are going to be warranted, but I got to send them in to get them replaced. Alright guys, so we're at Advanced Auto Parts in Boulder. Having some issues with the Vehicross. It's throwing a bunch of codes and bucking really bad. I think it's probably an O2 sensor, but we're going to just throw a math at it to see if this takes care of our issue. We've got to get up over the pass today, so hoping to take care of this. Alright, so we got the new math in. We're going to give this a shot, see if we can make it over the pass, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so all the work doing the lights and the suspension lift and the new gas tank, fuel pump, regulator, shocks. It's kind of a waste of time because we're having a lot of trouble with this thing. We did make it out here. We had some trouble before we got to Denver. So instead of going straight to Moab and doing some trails, we had to swing by Montrose and we're picking up my 4Runner. And then we'll just park that and I'll have to come back out in April and see if I can get it running better. So we'll see if we can get this thing fired up. We got to hook up the battery quick. It's been sitting for about 4 months now. And I always pull the wrong one. Let's see right there. Yeah, it is. Alright.
There. Oh, lights are on.
Lights are on. Perfect.
Oh, did you turn the lights on?
No, every time you unhook the battery and hook it back up, they come on.
Oh.
Because they're automatic lights.
Oh.
So.
Well, you know there's some charge in the battery.
Yep. Looking pretty dirty under here. Check the oil quick. Even though this thing doesn't really use oil. Completely full, nice and clean. Awesome. So we'll get some gears switched over quick and then we'll try and get back on the road. Well, here's all the lights I put on for the off-road driving at night in Moab that I won't get to use. A couple in the back. Got a bunch of rock lights underneath there. Here's the switch panel I put in. That was an incredible amount of work. So hopefully we'll be back out in the spring and we'll get this thing straightened out so it's a little more reliable. It ran great for the first about 900 miles and started bucking like crazy going into Denver. And then this morning we swapped the mass airflow sensor thinking that might be it. It was not. It ran okay for half the day and then going up over some passes we really started having trouble again. So got us out here, but I don't know how much longer it's going to run. Anyway, we're going to finish swapping stuff out here and hit the road and get to Moab. It's snowing like crazy here, pretty cold. So, catch up with you a bit.